Okay, well, I'd say this is going to be a time around when we're going to kind of get things a little more together here. I know I'm wearing the same shirt I had on in the last video when I filmed it yesterday, but that is just a thing where if it's sometimes the same shirt, I might even sleep in it, wear it for the next video, and but always change it before I go out somewhere. So I do want to also say that this is probably going to be one video where we are probably going to try to fill in the time and do parts of both Mary and Joseph in the video. So if you bear with me, we're going to try to get this out here. We're going to try to move along here. You will notice where you see how her shoulder line is, where it is. That's where we're going to carve along this line and stop about here where the line above her hands is. So we got the work to come, work to go. We gotta put a little effort into this. Make sure it has a shining light in the armor. I say that this little time in our lives, we know what we do, we know what we say. I say that these are the moments we kind of got to work along on things and see how we do, see how they do. Little work shall lighten us all up, make little characters out of us. We finally got the place carved in above her hands. We're going to do it on this other one as well. Try to get the little place put in where we see a little, and I tell you, I just chipped off the front of the hands there, but tell you, little things like that are just going to happen when you carve sometimes, so we don't have too much to worry about there. That's probably something that's going to come off as part of the carving anyway when we get to a later part, so not too much to worry about there. We've pretty much, I'd say, have got this. It's gonna work the way to how we feel in life and all the things we know to do. I say that the life can come a long way and shine its way to us. Make us all good characters of life and the Word. I will say, you see how Joseph's hand kind of goes down a little further below the shoulder line, so we're going to carve along that. We've got to take these steps to where they need to be. I could talk to you all the time about stuff while I'm going about carving these, about all my adventures with my sewing and Starbucks, you know. I've been frequenting a different location than I used to, and I think it's pretty good there. I just believe for sure, you know, God has me there for a purpose, and that's just one of the things where it's not been a place where I've been ministering to anybody, but just there, you know, people enjoy my company, they enjoy talking to me, but I would like to ask you all to give them a little prayer because they had some of their staff go away for college, and that's why they're hiring new people. They have some new hires who just got through their interviews, and they have to go through a training process for 2 weeks before they can start working. It's going to be a long 2 weeks for the people who have been there a while, so and it's going to be kind of short for them for a while for the time they have it like that. So it'd be a good idea just to kind of keep them all in your prayers. Keep your prayers going. There's been a time or two that I've been over back to Dollar Tree last night to purchase some easels on which to put some of the new signs I'm going to make. And one thing I came to notice over there is that everything's not $1 anymore at Dollar Tree. There's been prices that have gone up there. Some things have gone up to $1.25, some things up to $3, some things up to $5. So that's been the story there. There's a little work we want to come along next. You may note how there's a place below the hands on here where there's that little line we shave out, and there's a little piece down here we take out as well. So we're gonna try to carve along this, take care of this little piece, take it out like it needs to go, stress ourselves not too much, but try to get this in line, get this straight, get this taken care of, because this little work shall last us a longer way than we know, longer way than we realize, because it's all just going to get to be a piece of work in the end. So that's how we go about it. And this is where we sort of carve along the front of this figure. This is the progress so far. I'm going to take care of that on this other Mary as well. And while we're at it, let's take care of that same little step on Joseph's front. I say that we got a lot of work here, and there's just a lot of stuff I can't wait to take out to my shows. You've probably seen on some of my pages, or it's not been to my pages yet, but I have shared in some personal messages with people. It'll be to my pages eventually, but kind of like where I have taken the pockets of pillows and taken the pockets of jeans rather, and painted emojis on them, stuffed them up and sewn them closed. There's a lot of adventures in life and with work, because there gets to be things that only certain ones of us can do. You know, sometimes you come to realize that for each of us people, there's only one of us. There's only one of us who can do a lot of what we can do. There's only one Chet Atkins. There's only one Garth Brooks. There's things they can do that not many of us can. Of all the people in the world, you know, we each got something about us that's individual about us. Each of us has something about us that only we alone can do. I'd say this work will last me through this time. Got a little time to go about this. I do want to show a single other step we take. There's this little triangle you see drawn out down here. That is the next part to be carved out. And wow, we got a lot of work coming along this way. And we see that this kind of work is going to tire us out and make us strong people. We are strong vessels for God, I say. There's so much that apart from God we cannot do. We know it's only by His Spirit we live and breathe. And that's how I come down to that very last step here. Come down to a point where it's down to this level, and we see that the more you venture around, the more you take your work everywhere you go, the more people get to see it in places, the more it kind of gets their attention, shows them your grace and your talent and your mercy, and blesses them in need. And we're going to do this to Joseph too. Kind of take down this little place here, work our way through it, take the little triangle off, and just a little bit of a corner piece of wood, and how we straighten it all out. It's all going to be for the good of all of us, to make mercy and grace flow through us, flow through us. I say that sometimes you can have a little infinity on these works and make them come out the way they need to be. Sometimes it's difficult for me to show step-by-step instructions. I really couldn't get as many followers as some of these people on there do. There's all these people who do all this DIY and carpentry work. See all the followers they get. I could never get that many. So sometimes you just kind of have to come online and demonstrate to the best of your ability. And sometimes all you can really do is just be yourself. Because you try to be somebody else to try to impress too many people and get more followers, you are just not going to be happy that way. I say that this time around, I'm checking a few other things here, see what we need to do. It looks like we might be getting fairly close to some stopping places. Do need to tell you all there's little triangles here around Mary's hands. We do need to carve around those. There's a carving to do at the top of the hands here, so we will go about that. Sometimes if you're not careful, your knife can get too dull, and even if it gets too dull to carve, the end can still be sharp. One time I was carving a piece of wood and probably using the wrong kind of knife for the wrong kind of wood, but had the knife slip and go right through my leg years ago. Had to go get that all stitched up. Wasn't much technology I had back then by which to really record a video, but I've seen enough inspiration in life to really get so inspired I could do so much more. And sometimes business can go good, but there are just some things in life you can be very qualified to do them, but just have to take them as slow as you can. I say there's some work like It might even be a dull knife here. It might be a soggy piece of wood. It could be anything, but I finally got the top of Joseph's hands here ready as well. Time to take another carve into another spot. Take the wood out to where it must go and make a little thing that brightens the days and the worlds of us all. Makes us all happy old people and brightens us too much. I tell y'all, and finally, there's a certain step we can kind of come down to this time around, and then we're going to take little breaks for the rest of the video, but I would just like to show you all a little place here where, you know, we angle off this little corner up here as well. So we're going to take care of that right there. Here's one. And here's the other. That's how we're coming along. That's how we work. That's how we do. There was times in my life when we got a little time in our hands and take care of other people in our lives. So I say that this is going to be a good little sign of a nativity here. Sometimes there's a little work that comes along, makes it all better for us, makes us all work a little harder. Because I say that there are times when you come to realize that work can make us better, can make better people of us. Finally did it with the two sides of Joseph here too. And once we get up to the very color of these figures, we're gonna come down to having so much little more to share in life and make us all see things that go the final way. So I'd say that there's a few more steps here in the book that I'm probably going to have to do separate from the camera because they are a little more difficult to do, a little more harder to come along on. So I might probably kind of take some time out from recording and go over just a few other little steps. Like you might have even seen me do those steps when I did the shepherds in that video. So if you want to refer back to the video about the shepherds, you know, you might be able to come back and see some of these steps, but it all has to do with carving along these lines for the coat and the robe. We're going to come along that sooner or later and make it all just show for the good and for the better. Take care.